with us. I'm Charlie,
And I'm Cory.
and this week we will be discussing our next 2005 album because we had a bit of a break to discuss the latest from Miley Cyrus. But we're back to that series, and we are now doing one of two poll winners because it was a tie. This one is Madonna's Confessions on the Dance Floor. Spoiler, if you've been listening for a while, you'll not be surprised, though. This is probably my favorite album of '05 because I love Madonna. So, little bias there, and I grew up with this album, so I'm very excited to dive into this one because it's a lot of fun, and Madonna's always interesting to discuss.
Understatement. Madonna
Yeah.
is always something fun to figure out with Madonna.
Absolutely. So I'm thrilled to be discussing this album, and I've always known it, but just going back into it, it's like, wow, this album was so formative to me.
Nice.
Just going back into it, it's like, oh yeah, no, I definitely did have this album cover poster. Was a staple of my childhood bedroom. I got it as a present for my 10th birthday.
There you go. Was it the one where it's mirrored and it's like three of her, or just the
No,
one of her?
the standard album cover. The mirrored one is the hung up single cover. But I love all the photos from this album. They really did beautiful photo shoots for this whole era.
They did indeed.
So, a bit of backstory. The last Madonna album that we did was Ray of Light, which was definitely a reinvention for her. And in between that, she put out music after that, and then American Life. And she did a lot of work with a guy named Mirwais on those albums. And he did some dance tunes, but a lot of stuff that would more be called folktronica, like folk songs with electronic bleeps and bloops. That was kind of his MO. And American Life ended up being Madonna's least commercially successful release to date in 2003. And it also was a change for her in that she seemed to actively avoid a controversy for the first time by not releasing the violent video for the lead single.
Wow. She went away from controversy. That's unlike her.
It was very unlike her, and all the retrospectives of American Life will know that was such an un-Madonna thing to do. And I think it did leave a bad taste in some of her core fans' mouth, because it's like, you've been creating controversy for 20 years and you're gonna back out now? But that's a full story for a different time. The American Life story. But after that album, the tour for that album ended up mostly being a greatest hits show. Still one of the top tours of 2004. I think it might have been the top tour of the year. But next year, Madonna announced that she'd be putting out a dance album. So that very much seemed like, okay, we're making a commercial consideration and something that people expect from Madonna, to put out a dance album in a twilight phase of her career at this point, because she'd been a pop star for over 20 years. But the question was, what form would it take?
Yeah, I remember being intrigued to see what she had up her sleeve here, because, like you said, this is twilight of career. So I remember being like, what can she actually bring to the table here? And, it's always going to be something wild, but will it be something enjoyable?
Yeah, that's the question. And that seemed to be a key factor in making this album, because American Life was so polarizing, and it definitely has a fan base of its own, but it's definitely not everyone's favorite Madonna album. That's for certain. But she did start work on this album with her producer, Mirwais, and thought that would be the direction they'd be going in. And he does have credits on a couple of tunes here, but she then ended up doing some work with her tour musical director, Stuart Price. And that went so well, it was decided that was the direction she was going to go with the album. Stuart Price is the main producer of this album. It was a newer sound for her, so it's like, okay, new producer, for these dance songs means we're going to be doing something a bit different. Quite a few of these songs started off intended for different projects. She was working on a musical called Hello Suckers and then another unnamed musical. She was thinking of these in a theatrical sense, was what she was actually going for, but all ended up being repurposed for what became Confessions on a Dance Floor.
That's cool to know. That's cool to know, because there is some theatrics in here. There is some storytelling that I wondered if it was for a cohesive piece here. That's cool. That's neat.
Yeah, and there's definitely a narrative to this album.
Yeah.
I fully believe. So this album was released in October of 2005, and another initial commercial success for her, a #1 debut all over the world, including in the US. And the fans ate it up, and it brought some new fans to the table in this case. There are newer Madonna fans, this is often the album for them. Like, this is their favorite Madonna album, or the one that really introduced them to her. As for me personally, I got into her 80s songs especially. It wasn't through this album, though, but it was during this era. Like, I came in on the tail end of it and remember watching the tour special on NBC when it aired around Thanksgiving time when I was 9, and I was very into that, and I got the tour CD and DVD too. So, even though I missed it by just a little bit, I still saw part of the era, and my dad did have this CD because he liked the lead single. So, very much formative for me. This was, like, I love the Immaculate Collection too, but it's like this was the newer Madonna album that I could love too. It's like this is also good and cool.
Yeah, I think new is such a great word to use there, because not to get too far ahead, but it's just such a new sound for her. It's a different look. I remember being like, she's really reinventing herself here, and being curious about it, but and more so in a sense of like, going into this album, I remember thinking, like, is she trying to keep up with the times, or is she trying to blaze her own trail here? And I was curious to see what we'd get there. Only time will tell what we actually got, but it was definitely a time where it's like, what you doing, Madonna? Like, what do you got for us for real?
Yeah, that was a question on many's minds, but in a lot of ways, this was seen as a major comeback for her. This album sold over 10 million copies worldwide, and we're now in the digital era. And she didn't have to rely on American success, really, for this album. A lot of these copies were sold in Europe, especially this album did well. And it kind of just didn't matter. And the tour was also a huge success in 2006, and an amazing show. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. It might be her best tour period, actually, because she really did make this album into a live show, and the girlies are still. That's the playbook they're following. They're not just following the Blonde Ambition playbook, they're also following the Confessions tour playbook in terms of creating a show centered around an album. And not sure even Madonna's been able to do it quite as well since, with the tour at least.
Yeah, they really are following this playbook. It's wild to see. It's wild to see. Once you've seen it and you look at what's going on. I mean, she's an inspiration for all those ladies. I was gonna say even Miley. It's so wild. A little side note that we're doing Madonna's 10th studio album here in 2005, and then we were talking about how Miley was on. We just did her 10th. I would think that when Madonna would have so many more albums comparative in that time, and it's wild that this is just her 10th.
Yeah, but that isn't counting stuff like soundtracks and many other singles, because there's still a lot of other stuff with her. There's stuff you're not counting. And some would say this is her 11, because there is always a debate as to whether or not I'm Breathless counts as a studio album, because it was associated with a movie.
Hmm.
But
A great movie, too.
Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, and that debate, a lot of that just has to do with the fact that it was associated with the movie. There's not quite another one like it. It's not really part of the arc. It is a bit of a one-off, but it is a full collection of Madonna songs. So you could say this is her 11th, but in terms of the arc, I think it makes a bit more sense as the 10th.
I heard that. It does. It does. I love the debate of why isn't that accepted as a studio album just because it's a quote unquote, dare I use the word soundtrack, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
But it's not entirely a soundtrack, because
Heard.
not all the songs were in the movie. So
Heard.
but they were inspired by the movie and Dick
They were.
Tracy.
They were indeed. Good old Breathless Mahoney.
Yes. Yes, she was. But we are now removed from that. We're back to Madonna, Disco Queen, in her pink leotards and her red hair. Spotlight shining on her. Ready to dive into this bad boy. I'm excited.
Yeah, let's get at it.
So Confessions on the Dance Floor begins with Hung Up, which was the lead single in October 2005. And this was the first song that she worked on with Stuart Price. But it's very notable for one reason. This song samples ABBA's Gimme 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 A Man After Midnight, and ABBA didn't do samples, but they did say yes to Madonna, and, well, I'm glad they did, because, oh, this is a beautiful sample, first of all. Like, they did reinvent Gimme 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 A Man After Midnight for the 21st century and made an entirely new song out of it. And the response was rapturous. I mean, just what a brilliant dance pop song. I mean, I'm guessing if you click to listen to this that you've heard this song by this point in time. It was a big hit. #1 in 41 countries. The US wasn't one of them. I'll discuss why in a little bit. But, oh, what a brilliant Madonna dance tune. It sounds like a classic one while also bringing something new to the table. And it does fit perfectly into this disco vibe for the album, and it's a perfect album opener, and with an amazing music video too. By the way, she was dancing in that video after falling off a horse and doing the damn thing at 47 years old, and nothing but respect. Right there, I love it.
Yeah, nothing but respect for this as an opener. Period. On an album where you are embracing this new sound and doing this disco full on, a gapless set here. You choose to open with a sample that automatically subconscious listeners, boom, are right on it. I mean, this is such a widely loved song and such an automatic dance catalyst for the subconscious listener here. It's amazing. It really builds the thought process of this whole album. Put a pin in what we are sampling here throughout this album and how genius it is that she's just really having fun with it. Too, it doesn't come out contrived, and it really hits the mark. This is a great way to open up a new sound album, but to open up a dance album, period. It's pretty much flawless as an opener. Great job.
Completely agree, and the reception all around is still rapturous to this day. And she did include this on the set list for her last tour, but she mashed it up with the Hung Up on Tokisha remix that I didn't care very much for. I kind of wish she just did the original Hung Up. That was a quibble I had with the Celebration tour, which was an amazing experience, but I do just wish it were the original Hung Up. But as for why this song was number one in 41 countries, but not one of them was the US, had to look at what else was on the charts that week. No other song was sounding like this one. The top 10, there were a couple ballads in there, and the rest of it's all R&B hip-hop. This was just not the sound that people were going for overall. So honestly, it's impressive that it did as well as it did in the US, especially coming off of American Life, which did not have a top 10 hit other than a soundtrack song that got added onto it, so it would have a top 10 hit. Honestly, I think this song did even better than could have been predicted, but that's a testament to its power. I think people had to at least see, but the Queen of Pop did it with this one.
Agreed.
And that
Agreed.
she did.
Such a wild time to release it too. When you look at it, she really was trying to push the envelope here, which adds to the depth of what we get.
Yeah. All right. But question is, just how do we keep it going after such an epic opener and huge hit? Well, we're gonna do it, and the next track is Get Together. And this one was heavily influenced by Stardust's Music Sounds Better With You, which I think it even got mashed up with officially or unofficially. I'm not quite remembering that or not. But this one just has the spirit of just those early Madonna dance songs. Like, this is like Holiday of the 2000s almost. It's like, can we get together? I really want to be with you. Just a very positive song to listen to. And that's what I love about it. Like, I always feel good listening to this song. And yes, let's get together. That's all I can say. This was another single. Don't think the video for this one was too great, but none of the other singles did too well in the US after Hung Up. This was a bubbling under track, but it did hit the top 10 in the UK and made it to number one in Spain, Hungary, and Venezuela. So another beautiful song for me.
Yeah, it's one that I feel happiness too, but more so the happiness of that it really drives in a number two spot this dance mentality. And now we go from automatically knowing with a gimme, gimme, gimme sample into really another blend, or really the first of the blending of genres here. And we get like a trance techno run here. It again, it's not contrived and it's really well done and put together well, but I'm really a sucker for this gapless set, and it it was her intent to make it this DJ set, and it really thrives inside of this second track here. This, I think she even said, I might be misquoting, but she even said like, this is, I made an album to put on at a party and not have to skip anything. And at this point, when inside of the number two, the pace is right there, and it's really tickled all of my dance fancies here. It's served me on so many different levels already at this number two track. It's really well done.
Yeah, I agree. And this was the first album that I'd ever heard mixed this way as the DJ set. And now with streaming, that's not how they put it on there, which kind of makes sense if you want to listen to an individual song, but you just lose something with it, because that was the way the album was intended to be listened to. Not
Yeah,
that they aren't good songs individually, but that seamless mixing is just that's such a part of it.
yeah. And while we're talking about the mixing, this is another one that I am a huge advocate for a nice set of earphones on this one, because the way it's
Yeah.
mixed is so left right channel. It's really well done. It's not so much this early in the album. We do get hints of it, but later on in the album, it's a full on surround experience.
Yeah, because that's when we get some of the darker songs, but we're not there yet. Next up, we've got Sorry, which was the second single. And this one, the video for this one was kind of a sequel to the Hung Up video, which I thought was very cool. She was getting a bit of a universe going there, which love to see that for the era. And this is a sassy little Madonna song. She's saying, I don't want to hear that you're sorry. You can forget it. And another very strong dance pop single and very earwig, especially with the I've heard it all before hook. Oh, just very fun song for me. But Madonna herself kind of lambasted this song a few years later, unfortunately. She didn't like it too much as of 2009. I don't know how she feels about it today. And this was her 12th number one hit in the UK, 5 other number one placements, only number 58 in the US. And there was actually a petition from her fans asking Clear Channel, which is now iHeartMedia, to start playing these songs, like end your cap on her new songs, start playing them. But again, part of that was probably she was in the twilight phase of her career. Let's not kid ourselves here. But also, it just again wasn't the sound of the time. The tide hadn't turned back into the dance pop sound again. That wouldn't really happen until like 2009.
Yeah.
But
Yep. They weren't ready for it yet.
no, but still a banger for me.
Yeah, this completes the trifecta of the start of this album for me. Really gives a nice bass driven jam here. I love the way that it seamlessly goes to these really demure strings and a spoken, and then we get back into the dance, which is very characteristic of a great DJ set. Bring it down, bring it up. And I love that. I love the way this is paced. This song is the shortest of the three we've heard so far, and it fully takes all the seconds it has and fills them with really great, well orchestrated, well mixed music here. This is a very strong three coming out the gate here. I mean, I know they're all singles, and sometimes that worries me getting three singles off the gate, but they are so cohesive. And as far as first time listen, I'm in it to win it at this point.
Most definitely. And of course, these singles got lots of remixes, and I don't want to spend too much time on them, but I do have to mention the remix for this one that was done by the Pet Shop Boys, that she also did on the tour, and they took it over the edge with that one. If you haven't heard that remix, check it out. It does even feature vocals from Neil Tennant in that case. And
Heard.
you know what? It just makes a lot of sense once you hear it. It's the Madonna and Pet Shop Boys collab you never knew you needed, but you got it, and it's awesome.
Heck yeah.
Killed it, love this song.
No doubt.
Now we're on to the first song here that's not a single. This is Future Lovers. This is the only song that ended up being produced by Mirwais on this album. And that could worry me a bit because she did change the direction after doing a few songs with him, but I'm very glad that this one made the cut. This is very heavily influenced by Donna Summer's I Feel Love, which is yeah, it's kind of an overused sample, but at the same time, it's it works just about every time. It's pretty hard to beat as a dance tune. I Feel Love. And she even did a bit of that song when she opened the tour with this particular tune, and it ended up being a very cool opener when Madonna entered out of a disco ball. Definitely one of the best concert entrances ever. And it has a bit of avant-gardeness that kind of works with Mirwai's producing, with the Price songs don't you're not going to hear Give Me a Mint and some of its brilliance on here, but this is an American Life Mirwais. This is much closer to Music Mirwais, which I mean, he can make a good dance track for her. That was a massively successful Madonna dance song right there. That it did make the people come together. But yeah, another really cool one. It does have a bit of that out of left fieldness that you might not have been expecting on the Madonna dance album, but it's here. And it's just over an evergreen sample, frankly. So this is another winner.
Yeah, I agree. We're right here. This is a bring it down part of the DJ set for me, but I love these jams. Almost a guided meditation here, so to speak, more so a guided trip through this wild soundscape that we're inside of. I love what you said about the evergreen sample here, because it just runs the whole entire time, but it never gets old, and it's used in so many, I'll steal another word from you, avant-garde ways here, that it feels truly unique inside of this dance set, where I think there is the propensity for a lot of the same sounds if you're not careful. And fortunately for us, Madonna is super meticulous and super careful about how this is going so far, and it's phenomenal. It lays so beautifully where it could have fallen flat on its face. I dig this one.
Yes. And I think that's the end of the first. Well, it is the end of the first third of the album. And we are still going to transition into something else, but this one's definitely the biggest shift we're going to get so far with the next track, which is I Love New York, which, of course, she loves New York. It's how she came up. She's not from there, but she moved there as a young woman in the late 70s, and this is her love letter to it. And it originally was written as a straight up rock song. The demo version was put on one of her live albums. And this song does have some of the clunkier lyrics here. Um, that this one's always, yeah, it's kind of silly in terms of that, but you know what? I've never minded this song. I mean, is it the best one here? Absolutely not. But it's never bothered me because I do think that she believes what she's singing here. And they do manage to keep a heavy guitar in there, and it manages to not sound too out of place here.
This one ain't for me. I'm be honest.
Fair.
Maybe hot tea take, maybe not. But
I don't think it's that much.
It's the first time that on this album that I was really taken out of it. I'm so happy to hear. Happy, I guess, is a weird word to use, but I like to hear that it was something else before, because it makes it make more sense to me. This feels like a hodgepodge here, where everything else has been so entirely tight. And even with me giving the benefit of the doubt that she is having fun and believes what she says, which I do believe, it just it doesn't take up the space correctly. It really, like when you said, "Hey, we've ended the first part of this album at Future Lovers," I'm 100% with you, because this was the first showing so far that really just it doesn't hook me at all. And I've tried, like, maybe this will be a grower. Let's go back. Let's figure out what's good here. It's tough, man. It is very much a hodgepodge for me, and it's weird, especially first listen, to get a miss here, because it's been so on point and so beautifully done so far. So this one, unfortunately, is not for me.
It's not for everyone. That's But we're gonna go to something a bit more grounded after that one with the next track, which is Let It Will Be, this one was co-written with both Mia Wise and Stuart Price, but only Stuart Price produced it. So, and this is the first confessional song on the album, actually. She was not lying when she said there would be confessions on the dance floor. This is a introspective song, but what I love about how we're getting into this confessional moment here is this does signify this is the dance album from evolved Madonna. Like a grown Madonna, she's seen some things and she's walked the walk and talked the talk. And she's really looking into herself here with these lyrics, by saying, like, now I can see things for what they really are. Like, really looking at her role in the world and the fame of it all. And she tried to do that a bit on American Life, but that was very much more with the acoustic sounds or folktronica. But here it's done over a dance beat, and we're shifting directions, but I think she did this one really well here, and I like that she's looking into herself.
Yeah, I really enjoy the way this becomes, or this is a confessional here, and for more reasons than are right there in front of our face. For me, this first listen, I wanted it to hit a bit harder musically. It felt like it was going to, but once I really got down with this song and listened to what she was saying and how it was being presented, the hit for me, the smack upside the head I was looking for in the beat is actually in her confession here, in her lyrics. And it's a really cool, catchy, I'll use the word catchy, but it's a really cool beat that flows throughout this. We never really lose those strings, and it really sings throughout this. And this is, she's steered the ship back on course for me here, in the sense of this DJ set, where, yeah, I lost interest in I Love New York, but now I can see the beginnings of a crescendo inside of this set, and I dig it. I really enjoy this song. This is a grower for me, but I really enjoy this song.
Yeah, it's not the showiest one on the album. This is one that will get to you with repeated listens. Because really, the showiest songs here are at the beginning, but those are the more pure pop tunes. Which, as she showed us that she could still do those really well, but we're gonna keep being confessional now with the next track, which is Forbidden Love, which, interestingly, is the second Madonna song called Forbidden Love. There's another one on the Bedtime Stories album, which was produced by Babyface, and that's a cool track as well, actually. I mean, Babyface he knows what he's doing when it comes to making a nice ballad. But she admitted that she did that on purpose. She said if she was going to plagiarize somebody, it might as well be her. So, but this is a completely different tune, and again, very trancy, this song is. The most trancy tracks that get together, but a bit darker, too. And I love it. The first time I heard this song was when she performed it on that TV special for the Confessions tour, and I was very intrigued by this, like, Forbidden Love. And she had two of her male dancers perform it alongside of her, and they were representing an interfaith relationship, actually. One Jewish, one Muslim. So, another powerful statement. She made several powerful statements on this tour, but the most controversial was when she did Live to Tell, which is not on this album. When she hung from the cross wearing a crown of thorns, that definitely ruffled some feathers.
As it will. As it will.
As it will. I had to skip over that when I was a kid. My mom said, "You are not watching that." She was making fun of God.
Heard that.
I could see where my mother was coming from there. But yeah, overall, this is just a very neat song. Like, I don't think it's definitely not the most personal song on the album, because this, I don't think, reflects where she was at this point in time, living in London, being married to Guy Ritchie. I don't think that was too forbidden of a love, but I know she'd seen a lot of stuff by this point in time. And she wrote a cool little tune about it. I don't think it's the best one here, but it is. I just love the sound of it. It's a cool tune.
Yeah, I'm right with you. This is my favorite gapless transition in the album. For me, Forbidden Love really finishes the musical sentence, the musical phrase that we started in Let It Will Be. And it with the gapless, it is so evident um the genius behind that. It really, these songs for me, as far as this gapless transition, are some of the best evidence of this beautifully seamless set, and the thought process of making that a whole album. They hold each other's hands so beautifully, and it really finishes with a great sound that, again, my first time through, I was like, why is this so, it's not a song that's going to jump off the page to you, but why is this so complete? And it's because it really does, in my opinion, complete Let It Will Be, and evolve into something else, sitting inside of this building crescendo that we can feel musically going on. I can't say a good enough enough good stuff about this Forbidden Love, or the way this album is back on track here.
Yeah, yeah, we're definitely there. And I have to say, I think it's an amazing. It might be my favorite transition on the album from this one to the next track. It's so seamless. And now we've got what was the fourth and final single, Jump. This one has a new co-writer on it, Joe Henry, who's an acclaimed Americana musician in his own right, but he's also Madonna's brother-in-law. He's been married to her sister Melanie since 1987, and he wrote Don't Tell Me with her, which was one of the biggest hits off of her music album. Well, the second biggest. I don't know why I say one of the, but you get my point here. They already did collaborate together on a very successful tune, and they did it again. And apparently the Pet Shop Boys claimed that Madonna sampled them at some point, and this Madonna song by songbook that I got some info from thought maybe Jump was the one that sampled West End Girls. It might have, but either way, this is the empowerment song of the album. And this was a great single choice, first of all. I just feel it was very. It does have that empowering feel to it while also acknowledging that it's hard out here. Like, my favorite lyric here is, life's gonna drop you down like the limbs from a tree. And I thought, just what a beautiful way to put it, because that very much speaks to me. Always has. It's like you really showed what life is gonna do, but also get ready to jump. And this is that Madonna empowerment. Like, this is that express yourself moment that we're getting for this album, but for the 21st century and with this cooler sound. And once this one did fail to make the Hot 100, and in this particular case, I know Get Together did too, but I'm very disappointed this one wasn't more successful. I think this is one of her most underrated singles ever, even though it did well elsewhere. I remember one time, like when I was a teenager at the Baltimore Hard Rock, I saw this video play, which was filmed in Tokyo, and I thought, oh, I'm so happy to be hearing Jump out in the wild, because you just never do. And I really wish more people knew this song, because it is a great single that didn't get the love it deserved. But it still sounds fresh today. I think that's another thing about this album. These songs still sound contemporary in 20 years later, in 2025, which is a testament to the work that was done here by both Madonna and Stuart Price.
100%, 100%. We use the word timeless all the time, but like it more so in the sense of you saying it still sounds contemporary in this day and age, because it does. Maybe even along the line of like a lo-fi, or like a slower dance that people are digging these days. But as far as this song goes, this for me, Hot Tea Take or Not, is the most Madonna track on this album, and I say that in such a respectful, positive way. Whether it's the fact that she is in the Madonna voice that reminds me of Madonna. You said express yourself moment. I really like that. But like, she just hits all the Madonna. She checks all the Madonna boxes here for me, as far as spoken word, as far as that lower register, beautiful. I don't even know how to explain it, but that Madonna-esque voice there, and the way that the melody for the hook hits here reminds me so much of her too. There's so much Madonna in this track. It's wild to see that it isn't a more acclaimed track. In the 8th spot here, pushing the latter third of the album, it's perfectly placed. Like I said, we're building this crescendo here, and it seems like it's going a little bit long, but it really, this not only couldn't have another place on the album pacing wise, but just is such a perfect insert here for a little Madonna reminder. I almost find myself just inside of a dance album enjoying it, which is her intent here. But now I'm reminded of full on Madonna-ness, and I dig that. I really like this track.
Yeah. And no, I do like your comment about the Madonna voice, and I have to say, I really do feel her vocals were well produced on this album, and I'm glad that she stuck to singing in her lower register for this point in her career, because I have to say, at the album after this, Hard Candy, she went higher up and just kind of sounded shrill, even though some of the songs were still fun, because Stuart Price definitely knew what he was doing with the vocal production, more so than Timbaland, because that's a discussion for a different day. Hard Candy, though I don't hate it. It's still fun, but it's not this one. But next up, we're gonna continue with the confessional. With this one, might be the most confessional song on the album. This one is How High. I remember one day, we were driving somewhere, and my dad gave me the CD binder and told me to put something in, and I put in this CD. And my mom said, these lyrics are something else. And it's like, yes, they are, because she's just owned up. She's like, I spent my whole life wanting to be talked about. And then she said, I did it. And it's like, yes, you definitely did do that. But she's really asking, like, was it all worth it, literally? And it even has some callbacks to some of the song titles from the music album, which is a little Easter egg for fans, but it's not, like, distracting in any way. I think it still works as a song. And this one does have a different producer here. This one was produced by Bloodshy and Avant, who'd been doing some work throughout the decade so far. Most notably, they had produced Britney Spears' Toxic, which I'm sure is the main reason that Madonna chose to work with them. Good reason to do so. And it does work. Like, that sound works well for what they were doing here. I don't think this hits quite as hard as the Price tracks, production-wise, but I do think it fits the confessional vibe that we're going for here. And I do think doing a song like this probably helped the duo do some wilder work on Britney Spears' Blackout.
Yep. This one I really enjoy on its own. I won't even say that. At first listen, I thought this was prolonging the inevitable crescendo, the inevitable climax here. But after further listening, it really adds such a neat level after jump that I dig, because it takes us with Madonna-ness that I was talking about in Jump, and reintroduces us back into this disco infused dance set, which I dig. There's some cool techno sounds. I'll say there's some cool electronic sounds in here that I really dig as well. It keeps the pacing going right. My early notes had that it stopped it, but in latter listens, it really does make the flow quite nice.
Yeah, and that's kind of impressive considering the next one, the next track is definitely a different one here. We haven't gotten a song like this one yet, folks. This is a wild one. But I love that at track 10 we got a wild tune like this one coming up. This one is Isaac. And there is a featured vocalist on here named Yitzhak Sinwai, and he reads excerpts of a poem called Im Nina Lo, which I can't say it like he does. If you hear the song, though, you'll hear what he's saying in it. With the, like, Im Nina Lo, which is what he's going for here. And, of course, this song did get some controversy, because what's a true Madonna album without some religious controversy? But this time it was from Hebrew scholars. They said the song was blasphemous, but she was able to defend herself on this one well by saying, actually, no, this is what it's saying. It actually means if all of the doors of all of the generous people's homes are closed to you, the gates of heaven will always be open. But this is a song only, like, post-Ray of Light Madonna could do. Like, this definitely gives me some of those vibes, especially of Shanti Astanji, which was her Sanskrit recital on Ray of Light. And this song, I don't think that it fully fits in with the rest of this album. It's very different from the other ones, but at the same time, it's such a cool song that I am not going to be complaining about it. Even when I was a kid, I always just found this song fascinating. I was like, I don't understand these lyrics very much. They're very abstract, these lyrics, but the sound of it's super unique. And I don't think she has a song quite like this in her catalog, and in that regard, I really appreciate this song a lot.
Yeah, I'm even have to go as far as to disagree with. I think it fits in quite perfectly. I am enamored with this track, period, the way it's mixed and built. Between the guitar loop, between his voice loops, between the way that this could have just ended up sounding like a world sounds offshoot here, but it ends up sticking inside of this disco dance mentality. I I love this track for its beat more so, but I'm enamored with the way that is mixed. I dig this one. I don't think it takes me out. And I love the way that it breaks all the way down and strings its way back into this, the same way we've heard this go on these disco tracks before, where it breaks it all the way down, no bass inside, all treble, and then we come back up with these strings, and then Madonna singing about angels, and work our way back into this really trippy dance tune. I dig it, man. I don't think this one takes me far out, and I do applaud it for its originality. This is a really cool track.
Yeah, and you do have a point. It's like you got a kind of similar-ish breakdown with Hung Up, which is obviously a very different song, but we also can get it on Madonna singing about angels, so that's a good dance album for you, folks.
Yeah,
But
yeah, man.
now, however, we're going to get to the closest thing that this album has to a ballad. I would say it's more of a mid-tempo kind of track, Push, which she wrote for her husband at the time, Guy Ritchie, and it's about how he pushes her to do better, which is a really sweet sentiment. And this one is probably, if anybody's going to say there's a skip on the album, they'd say it's this one. This one, I do think it's a grower. This is one, the more you listen to the album, and you know the other songs, you get to find this one, like, you know what, it's a nice song. It's not as showy as the other tracks here, by a mile. But that's kind of okay. I think especially after some of these, I mean, especially the previous few ones, we had some real high up ones, and I think it works to have a bit of a palate cleanser after Isaac in particular. And it does fit the confessional vibe because she was singing about her life as it was at this point in time, which I really respect. It's good to hear something nicer because confessions don't always have to be deep and sad and talked about how fame, whether or not fame was worth it, and life's gonna drop you down like the limbs of a tree. This is a nice love song, and I like this one. I think that's my hot tea take here. I actually am a defender of Push.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. I at first thought that it brought it down a little bit too much, but I like the fact that it's a palate cleanser here, and I respect it on the level of this gapless set as well, because you have to come out of Isaac. If you're looking to do this seamless set, you have to come out of Isaac with some kind of bridge here, musically, of what you were using before. And we're still getting hand drums early on in this that we're coming out of Isaac, and we're bringing that into a more electronic sound. We still have the strings here, but they're more of a synthed out string, looped up. And I dig that. And I think that's important to consider when listening to it. On its own, it might be a tougher listen, but inside of this package, it really does a great job fitting in and ultimately bridging into the end of this album as the penultimate track. So I dig this. I'm a proponent for this track. Is it my favorite? Not necessarily, but it really does not only its job, but it goes above and beyond bridging this musical seamless set. I dig it. I'm a huge I keep saying it, but I'm a huge sucker for that. If you're gonna do that, you got to do it correctly. If you're going to state that this is a full-on DJ set that you could do skipless, you have to make that true. And whether or not it's the most catchy way, it really is done here, and I dig it.
That it is. And now we're at the end of this. Oh, I'm so sad we're at the end of this, but we are. With the final track, which is Like It or Not, the second Bloodshy and Avant production. And this one, she's got some of the religious imagery. She's like, you can call me a sinner, you can call me a saint, and I'll be the garden, you'll be the snake. But she puts it in there like, this is who I am, you can like it or not. You can love me or leave me, but I'm never gonna stop. It's just such a Madonna sentiment. I mean, it fits along very much with her quote, in the end, the most controversial thing I've done is stick around. And it's like, yeah, she has stuck, or she definitely has. And I think this song probably would have hit harder the American Life controversy when she pulled the video. I will take that as a slight point against the song, but I do feel that it works very well as an album closer, and brings the night down, so to speak. And maybe it's not as defiant as it would have been in a different era, I would say. Like, this would have definitely hit harder if she were to put this, like, at the end of Erotica or something, but that's not where we are. I think this is a good track and a good album closer. And it's got a good sound to it, too. I like the guitar sounds here. I definitely hear shades of this that influence some of the work on Blackout, too, which is cool.
Yeah, I've had a tough time with this. And I've ultimately come to the opinion that it really works as the closer here. In its darkness, in its bring the night down. I think more so because I was waiting for this ultimate banger to end this one. But at first I was off put by it, but I really love it as a closer now after listening and really going back on it a bunch. It's neat. It's a neat way to end this set. Especially, I was looking more so of how are you going to end this like true ending to this seamless set here, and she really does a great job with it closing uh, in this final note. I dig it. It's a perfect ribbon to this package, to this set. And even though it wasn't this ultimate climax banger, it really works well here.
That it does. And this is the end of the album as we know it. There were two separate bonus tracks on different editions. One was the limited edition album, which was Fighting Spirit. That was one of the initial songs made with Mirwise. I mean, I think it's cool to see kind of the direction this album was going to go, and I think it's interesting in terms of that, but I can definitely see why it was relegated to a bonus track. And then there's Super Pop, which was only for her fan club, and it's just a dumb song. There's no other way to put it. You're not missing much. I haven't. If you were to like it, it would definitely be in a guilty pleasure kind of way, but it's like, yeah, this is what her and Mirwise were coming up with. I think it's good that she changed directions, but at least we got to keep Future Lovers and Let It Will Be. Especially Future Lovers.
Yeah.
Now we're at the end of this one, our first 21st century Madonna album that we've done here. We've done Like a Prayer and Ray of Light.
There you
so
go.
Now I do have to ask Cory, what's your grade for this album?
Madonna-Confessions on a Dance Floor. I really enjoyed my time with this in so many different levels. A little bit familiar with it going in, but really diving into it and picking apart how it could have fell flat as far as a seamless set. I'm so enthralled and just moved by the way she embraced a new sound and didn't just try to keep up with the times. In fact, even though she sampled from stuff that has a nostalgic vibe to it, even her own stuff, it really moves the needle or pushes the needle and moves music forward. And I think it doesn't get the credit it deserves. As an album, pace wise, it is beautifully spot on. I think it falters once, in my opinion. And for that, I give it a B+.
For me, it's an A. Shouldn't be surprised. Like, this album's part of my DNA at this point in time, so I can't give it less than an A. Just again, I agree with everything that you said. I don't think it truly falters. I've spent enough time with it that I've come to enjoy all of the songs here, even if I do think there's a clear weakest tune here. But part of it's also elevated for me by the live show, too. I just love it all. Love this album, and I'm so glad that we got to do it here. This isn't the longest Confessions retrospective that's ever been done, but I think this album speaks for itself in many ways, and that's why we're able to kind of just breeze through it. I didn't even have to take too many notes on these songs because I'm so familiar with them at this point in time. And what's your favorite song here?
This one was tough for me, but ultimately the one that moved me musically and really just inspired me, and I'm going to go with Isaac. I dig that tune, and I am enthralled by the way it's put together.
Yeah, I'm going to be basic here. It's Hung Up. Just never gets old for me. I will always love Hung Up.
Heard. It's that ABBA love in there, man. It's so subconscious. It's beautiful.
That's a part of it, but
Heard.
it's also Madonna love. Just what an amazing song and single and all of it. I love Hung Up. Always will. I mean, hey, even Kids Bop did Hung Up. She did the thing with it.
There you go. That's how you know you made it.
Yes, in the 2000s, that is how you know you made it,
Yep.
actually. And okay, this will, of course, be edited out. So Daniel told me his best days to do it would be Saturdays and Mondays.
Saturdays and Mondays.
So for me, obviously, Saturday would be better. What Saturdays coming up are the best for you?
So Saturday the 5th is tough. Just because,
I agree.
Monday's tough too because it's Chance's birthday.
Agreed. Okay.
And then the 12th, I'm working.
Okay.
And that Monday, I'm working.
Okay.
So if we need to get it done, and I'm down with that, I can do this Saturday. I'd like to do it in the daytime. Like if we could do early.
Well, maybe we should do Get Behind Me, Satan for that one instead of
Okay.
having a guest.
Okay. All right. I'm
So
down with that.
how
Do
about
that
the
early
19th?
Saturday.
Saturday the 19th?
I'm doing a family reunion at my folks' house that day. It's like a wake for both my uncles that passed this year. So that's the 19th is a no-go. And the 20th, that Sunday, is Chance's party at Ultrazone.
Okay. 20, so busy weekend,
period.
period.
Yeah, but so hold on. I gotta get to my July. So if we did White Stripes this Saturday the 5th, I'm down with that. If you're down with that.
Yeah, and he told me he couldn't do the 26th of July 26th.
I believe, I'd be working that Saturday anyway. He can't. Monday, no, because wait a minute. Monday the 21st, I'm off. I can make that happen.
Okay, so Monday evening.
Yeah, but that puts if we did White Stripes, that puts a week gap with doing nothing.
Yeah, but I don't see how we could get in there, though.
No, I hear you.
There's so much going on.
Yeah, no, if we're just doing Mondays and Saturdays.
Well, in terms of him, I mean, we could, the two of us, but I'm just trying to schedule him in there.
Yeah, so July 21st, that Monday, I could do if he's open that Monday.
Yeah, let me ask him. All right, but I guess either way, the next one we're doing is the White Stripes, so let's announce that. Okay.
All right.
But now we are going to close out our 2005 series with our next one, our other poll winner. I know this was one Cory was championing, so can you tell us about it?
Man, we are going to move on and do a little one by the White Stripes. And that is, what's the name of the album? I'm sorry.
Get Behind Me, Satan.
And that one is going to be Get Behind Me, Satan. As terrible sounding as that is, an album that I think truly hasn't been widely taken apart and really broken down. So I'm excited. There's always, with Jack White, there's always something going on. I won't say almost as much as Madonna, but there's always something going on with Jack White. And this was a great time for his music, in my opinion, as well.
That it is. And also, it is fitting. Not only did it turn 20, I did see a piece about it turning 20 that was pretty cool on Stereogum, but the White Stripes are getting inducted into the Rock Hall this year.
Really? Good for them. Good for them. That's awesome.
So it makes sense because they're definitely one of the biggest pure rock acts of the 21st century.
Heard that.
So they definitely belong there. If you're going to be disputing that, that's an issue. But I haven't heard this album before. I'm not the most familiar with this band, but I'm definitely interested in them and looking forward to diving into this one because it'll be a new one for me, and that's always a fun thing to do.
Yeah, I think you'll have a blast with this one. It's a dark push on folk in my eyes. And also, there's some singer-songwriter stuff here that I don't think he gets the flowers he should. Even though I guess he's going in the Rock Hall.
Yeah. But I do think he's primarily known as a guitar hero.
Heard that.
More so than a lyricist. So, and I love some singer-songwriter stuff because, well, we even got some of that here. We'd love to see it. Looking forward to it. Follow us on social media if you haven't. Links will be in the description. And of course, subscribe and leave us a nice rating and review if you can. And we will see you very soon with Get Behind Me, Satan.
Peace!